What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with another haul video. We've got some more goodies in today. So we're going to open them up and see what we got. But before we do that, I want to encourage you, if you don't mind, to go ahead and smash that like button so that you don't forget. It's easy to forget. See all these goodies, you're like all excited. It's like living vicariously through somebody else's collection. And you go about your daily life and you forget about smashing that like button. Help the YouTube algorithm and hit that like button for me. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification if you like to know when videos like this drop ever so randomly. And you can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch this video. I will go ahead and say at the outset that I am working on a 600 subscriber giveaway. This is going to be, or these are going to be the prizes for said giveaway. I have not released the details as of yet. Yes, I am procrastinating. We have a little while to that, so I still have some time. What's going on, Superior Hero Reviews? But suffice it to say that you do have to be 18 years or older, and you do have to be a subscriber to the channel. So if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, go ahead and get that out of the way. And if you know people that are in the comic book community or pop community that would be interested in watching me randomly open boxes of stuff that I get, then be sure to share the channel, and we can get to that 600 subscriber giveaway ever so faster. So let's get into this. Boxes of goodies. Ooh, I got that one. That means I can do another post for Multiple Monday. Multiple Monday. So yeah, I got some goodies in today. And then interestingly enough, I don't see. So I had all these people right here. I got my stuff from them. They're farther away than what I am. Well, thank you, Bert. Only thing can make it better would be a Morphin Monopoly board, right? But that is the original version of the Monopoly board, so it is pretty cool. So I picked up something from Houdat, and so you're thinking, okay, it's 2 hours away versus these other people are in California, mailed the same day. Do you get it? No. That would make too much like sense. And the postal system's a little more screwed up than they usually are. And but hey, what are you going to do with the postal system? There's no competition. So I typically try to attend a live sale by Elvines Comic Sales. He is a seller that used to do a lot of various cons. Obviously, the cons are a thing of the past right now. And so he's taken to Instagram. And typically, I don't get to claim all that much on his sales because when he does sell, people obviously have faster internet than I do and typically get the stuff quicker than I do. But he keeps it clean, and his two girls and his wife are on there keeping things for him running in the background, and so he keeps it clean. So I like to go and check out his stuff. He's also got good taste in books because he likes Valiant Comics. And you're going to have to see some X-Men, some Batman, or some Valiant Comics, or all of the above when you're watching my stuff. And so I just happened to pop into his show one day, and I saw this one book up on the wall, and it wasn't taken down yet. And I was like, wow, wait a minute, what is that? And he confirmed what I thought it was, and so I picked her up. And that is Archer and Armstrong #0. This is the gold version, which Valiant did the zeros or the ones in gold from back in the day. And this one's a little extra special because it is double signed by not only Bob Layton, which is a pretty good signature, as Barry Windsor Smith. And so I've got a Bob Layton signature, but I don't have a Barry Windsor Smith signature. And so Barry Windsor Smith, I do not believe does a lot of cons anymore. Barry Windsor, definitely probably most known for either, if you're a Conan fan, the original so many issues of the Conan run from 1 to, I don't know, 20 or so. And then also as Marvel Comics Presents, depending on how old you are. Marvel Comics Presents, where he introduces the Weapon X and gives the Wolverine backstory with that. So that's probably where he's best known. Did some work with Rune, R-U-N-E, in case you couldn't figure that out with my accent. In the Malibu era of comic books, did some X-Men, various things. Matter of fact, his first comic book work was in X-Men. Trying to remember the issue number on that one, but it's a Blastar, which is more of a cosmic type comic book foe. But Blastar was appearing in that particular deal. So my Clinton Creighton poster I bought the other day already has a chip in the side. Need to frame it ASAP. Exactly. Man, look, I've had that happen. You get something, you're all excited about it, and then boom, something happens, and you, man, I can't believe I've done that. But so glad to pick that up. Just happened to pop in on the sale when that was available. So like I said, I didn't have a Barry Windsor Smith, and from my understanding, he's not doing the con scene no more. I think he lives in England. So kind of a peculiar fellow, which a lot of artists are. And let's see what we got in this one. Oh yeah. So picked this up from Cat Designs, 60. He was selling on Metaphorical's auction. And I'm just surprised that I got on there and certain people weren't on there because certain people like to hoard this book. I'm not going to call no names as to who hoards this book, but he's a member of the community. And look, I mean, I'm not no bones against him, but when I didn't have a copy of this book, I was like, man, Gamma Collectibles. Oh, did I say that out loud? Yeah, Gamma likes this book in particular. He's got, I think, like 10 copies of it in varying grade. And we were discussing how it's hard to find one in a decent grade at a decent price anymore. And I said, well, it's because you bought them all up. You drove the market up. But I was able to pick up what I believe to be a 9.8 candidate, probably fixing to send it in a couple months ago. But this one was too good to pass up. Not a lot of action bidding against it, so I was glad to pick up Batman 635. I know, Burke, if you're still in the chat, you've got a copy of this yourself. The thing that makes this cool is because this little remark right here, I'm not a really big fan of remarks because usually it takes away from the art. But in this particular case, I thought it was well placed and worked really good. So that is a remark done back last year by Matt Wagner, who is also the cover artist. And so got a COA on the back here. It definitely needs a press. And so I'm thinking about, because I was going to send that other one in to see if I do have a legit 9.8. And this is never going to be a 9.8, but it's definitely could be a 9.4, 9.6, and with the press. And so I'm thinking about sending this in. And if Burke is still here, I'm going to be using your guide that you have recommended and be using your code. So what's going on, David Ewing? How are you doing today? So yeah, I was glad Gamma didn't happen to be in that chat because I wouldn't have outbid him. Selwyn had one and I was going to go after, and Gamma got that one. So I ended up finding that one, that the other one that I have that's a 9.8 candidate in Memphis. So let's see who I got this from. This is from Sinister's Comics, another Instagram seller. Got your first 25th anniversary. It's the Iron Man one. Well, congratulations. I know you mentioned something about wanting to start collecting those. Funny you should mention that because just the other day I was able to snag a Muppet Babies one and the Peter Porker one. So, hey, those are some of the, you'll find harder ones to get a hold of. The Iron Man was actually one for me too. Not, you'll see some of those as you're looking for them pop up on auctions from time to time. But some of them are pretty hard to get a hold of. And so picked up those two. So the only one I need now is the Ewoks one. So if you happen to be checking something out and you see 2 Ewoks available, let me know. And of course, you can go on eBay and pick them up all day long. But where's the fun in that? So still looking for that one. And so Sinister is a Instagram seller, has random Instagram sales, and I had seen a book and that I liked a while back that he was selling. Contacted him later, got a little bit cheaper deal on it than what he was originally asking for it. And said, provided that you're willing to hold it for a little bit, because I like to combine my shipping. I never dealt with him before. I've been in and out of his auctions, but never bought anything on his live sales. And I said, well, provided you're willing to hold. What's going on, Magoo? How are you? That's right. I said, provided you're willing to hold them and until I get ready to ship, then we'll be good. And he said, yep. And so I did, and visited him a few more times and got a few more books. So he shipped them to me the other day. So first off, I've got Batman and Superman #1. This is a Clayton Crane exclusive. Clayton Crane. So I know several people have been dropping the Clayton Crane love, and certainly it's well deserved. He's a great artist, pretty nice guy. And this is a Scorpion Comics exclusive, limited to 600, and this is number 536. So that was pretty cool. Now, picked this up from him. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder in Hell. Not a good place for Shredder to find himself. Interestingly enough, this is another Scorpion variant, and there's only 666 of them. You catch the implication there? And so this is a Del Auto copy. I do have Turtles, in particular the Mirage version, but I haven't got this one. But when I saw it was a Del Auto version and he had marked it down to $12, I said, hey, I'm going to pick this Joker up. And so I did. And so our Perillo. Thinking that signature is a Perillo. I don't know why I thought it was a Del Auto. Either way, picked that one up there. Then I got this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles '98. This is the action figure variant for Jennika. Picked it up on the cheap from him. And then I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles '67. This is the Unknown Comic Books cover there. Just an average cover there. But it was on the cheap, and I already had a box with them, so I said, hey, let me pick it up. And all he does, well, I say that. Sometimes he has some auctions, but mostly it's buy it out. So you just say, you see what you want. If you don't like the price that you see it at, then mention it. And he's liable to get something cheaper. Now on this one, I don't recognize the name, but that doesn't mean anything, because a lot of times I just know people's screen names, and their screen names being different. Aliases or made up names, right? So I know who this is now. So this is First Responder Comics, and so I never bought anything from him. So again, this is the first time. Well, let's see if first impressions are good ones, because they are typically lasting impressions. And saw some stuff from him. No pull tabs. JB would not be happy. Neither would Jason. Come on, pull tabs, people. How long does it take you to do a pull tab? How much extra tape does it really take to do a pull tab? And it would make it so much nicer opening it up. That way you don't risk pulling or scratching the comic itself. And there we go. All right, so pick this up from First Responder Comics. Again, an IG seller. And so this is Jenica, this is from the mini series. This is the only one I got, and it was totally a cover by. Magoo says, "Am I in the storm path?" Yes and no. According to the way the storm seems to be going now, it seems to be curving a little more to the right, and in which case I would be out. That doesn't mean I'm out of the way, but I'm out of the path of the storm, and I would be to the west of the storm, which is the less powerful side of the storm. So there's going to be a lot of rain. I need a new roof because last time we had a storm, I figured out that I needed a new roof. Definitely Magoo, because the folks down in New Orleans and then over on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi are certainly going to feel the brunt of the storm. Thankfully, it's a very mild storm, but I will tell you that during Hurricane Katrina, trees fell all around my house, and nothing happened. It happened to a lot of other people around me, but just not to my house. Hurricane Isaac came in 2012 and dropped 3 trees on my house. So it really is not as much about the strength of the storm unless you're on the coast where the storm hits initially, because the hurricane weakens as it goes inward. It's all the tornadoes that it shoots off and all the rain, and in Isaac's case, the straight line winds that came from that. So definitely appreciated there, Magoo. So we got, this is definitely a cover by, this was Jenica number 3. This is the homage to Thor 337, I believe, first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. So I've got several other homages to this same cover, and it was a Turtles book. So I said, hey, can't go wrong. And, a lot of times on these homages, they will put after so-and-so to kind of pay homage to them. But check that out, after Master Simonson. So I thought that was pretty cool. So Jenica number 3. So this, I picked up all these homage covers, which, that's a lot of what I collect too. Dana 1, this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. I do appreciate you stopping by. This is Ice Cream Man issue 20. Now I take it back. I've read Ice Cream Man one time. So I got the Image dollar first, just to kind of see what it was about. It was interesting, and but I've heard good things about it. And they're standalone stories, to my understanding. So you can just pick up issue 20 or issue 12. You really haven't missed out on a lot. But this is, again, an homage cover by Ice Cream Man issue 20. This is the second printing, and this is a Dr. Seuss. So the other one is the first printing was an homage to The Cat in the Hat. This is an homage to another Dr. Seuss book, which name escapes me right now. But yeah, that's why I picked that one up, for that reason. Double A Comics, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by today. Let's whittle through some of these pickups. This is Aquaman number something or another. Again, a total cover by, and if you're old enough, you remember Free Willy. It was kind of fitting, right? Aquaman and Free Willy. I just picked up the, I like these movie homage posters too. I got the Batman mask one, and then I just picked up Saturday the Matrix, the Detective Comics Matrix one. But this is the Free Willy one. So, William Smallwood, how are you? So this is Free Willy, the movie with the little whale and the little kid, and in the movie poster, the little kid sitting there like that, and I think that's like one of the final scenes of it, if I remember correctly. So it was kind of fitting that Aquaman would be doing that. So this is another homage cover that I picked up. So yeah, just bought homage covers from First Responder. It was interesting. This is not Free Willy as in Bill Clinton. Free Willy. See, this is what the Democrats were saying. Free Willy. He wants to go do stuff. And then there's Willie. And Willie says, I I wonder if Hillary's going to be gone this weekend. I was going to invite Monica over. Yeah, that's right. Got Monica in the White House. Hillary's gone. Hey, I dig fat chicks. What do you think? Huh? Wait, what you think? Huh? I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I did not at any time ask anyone to lie for me. But no, seriously, simpler times, right? Um, but yeah, Magoo, you have to find somebody old enough to remember all that stuff, right? So yeah, I didn't get an awful lot numerically in the deal, but did pick up some goodies with this Archer and Armstrong Zero, signed by Barry Windsor Smith and Bob Layton, signed down here at the bottom. So Barry Windsor Smith's signature, a little hard to get. Bob Layton still does the con scene. He was at a con in February. I wasn't able to attend in Dallas area, and was going to get him to sign my Rise Zero and several other things, but and still will. Still will. But yeah, Barry Windsor Smith, hard at the deal. And then also Matt Wagner, a little remark, a little Batman remark right there. And first appearance of the Red Hood, which is later to be revealed as Jason Todd, brought back from the dead. Back in the day, DC had it right. They would kill a character off and leave them dead, right? And somebody else would take up the mantle and move on with it, right? Like the Flash, when Barry died, and Barry was dead like 20 years. And then Red Hood, Jason Todd had been dead for quite a number of years by the time this rolled back around, and they just moved on. And I don't know what made them think that they had to go back and resurrect all these dead characters. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Jason Todd. I like the Red Hood. I didn't like him as Robin. Red Hood, good. But anyway, people stopped coming up with new stuff to keep tying the people back to the old books. So there's really been no real good character creation that's not an offshoot of some other character. Batman Who Laughs, great character, but he's an offshoot of Batman and Joker. So not really a new character, right? Not a new idea. Naomi was probably the closest thing that you had to that. But then Naomi, she kind of fizzled out pretty quickly. I think that it's because they tried to push it so much that it's like, hey, this is, girl power, minority power. It's like, why don't you just put her in with a good story and people will buy into it eventually. People will say, and then why are you trying to get her to like her just because she's that? Why don't you get her to like her because she's a good character? So take Storm, for example, bedrock character of the X-Men. When do they ever talk about her being black? They just say, hey, you're a mutant like us. They don't ever say, hey, you're a female. Why we're trying to push it? So she's just a bedrock character of the X-Men, who happens to also be black and female. So I think that they try to push all that with Naomi, and then it was really unbelievable in the sense that it's like Superman's like, oh wow, I don't know how this girl can whoop me, and Batman's like, this girl's super intelligent. Oh, Bendis has been kind of on the down trail, which, by the way, he's going to be off Superman. For anybody who is a Superman fan, you have good things to look forward to. Bendis is going to be leaving that title finally. DC, with all the changes that are going on, are going to kick Bendis to the curb, and at least in large part, off their title characters. I don't know that Superman will ever sell as well as Batman, in particular, recently has been selling, but he is one of the main top characters of DC, and he should be selling more than what he's selling. So they're going to put somebody good on that title, both in art and writing, I imagine, to try to get those sales back up there. So. Anyway, that was kind of my rant for the day. Got to have a rant, It's not a Southern Comic Geek video if you don't have a rant about something. And so it's the same thing with, going back to the characters. that kind of offshoot. So just think about that. No new characters that are not an offshoot of another one. The Flash, there you go, Magoo. There you go. The Flash has had a lot of supporting cast characters added, like Godspeed and the like. But they're just offshoots of the Flash. Not that they're bad characters. It's just that somebody didn't just say, "Hey, let's create this character that has this superpower such as this, and let's give them this backstory." And they're introduced in this comic, and then they create a following themselves. It's just not there. I think DC in particular kind of flubbed the dub on the last deal with characters such as Damage and Sideways. I think it's Sideways. I know people kind of said, "Oh, that's a Spider-Man knockoff, or Damage is a Hulk knockoff," and stuff like that. But aren't they all? I mean, Moon Knight is not a knockoff of Batman. I mean, they could be similar or Green Arrow and Hawkeye. They all have their likenesses, but a character has a different background, a different, similar power structure, but totally different. Think about the characters out of the Bat family. They're different characters, but essentially they're all Batman, or Robin. And so it's all good. So Magoo, I don't know if you've been reading the latest thing of Flash. I have not. Obviously, you know a lot more about Flash than I do, but I'm assuming that you might be happy with how they, if you're a Wally West fan, how they kind of retconned what went down in Heroes in Crisis, which I guess Tom King not doing his best work on. Made Wally West a murderer who basically had PTSD and killed Speedy and a couple other folks, and then they kind of retconned it to say that it was Reverse Flash, or Thromp as he's called, I believe. And he was the one that really done it. Really, Wally's innocent, and now Wally's got the powers of Dr. Manhattan and is trying to help in the whole Dark Knight's death metal thing. And so it's probably, if you're a longtime Flash fan, especially a Wally West fan, interesting that people that in large part only knew Wally West would say that they're Barry Allen fans, but because you think about when Barry Allen died in Crisis on Infinite Earths, if you're under a certain age, you don't even remember a time when there was Barry Allen, but they would say that they're a Barry Allen fan, whatever. So been only reading comics for 6 months, and you're on the New 52 Flash books. Okay, well, so you got a little ways to go. What about New 52 Court of Owls, Talon, Duke Thomas, the Single Bloom? Yeah, but I mean, they weren't like game-changing characters. And by that, maybe I should clarify that, not game-changing characters. And as far as the Court of Owls, I will say this, and a lot of times people, kind of poo-poo the whole New 52 deal. I liked the New 52 deal. It was a fresh take on the characters, and in particular the Batman character, because, and I don't typically like retcons where they go back and they say, well, this all happened, and but behind the scenes this was really happening. It just seems like a cheating way to try to get a story back in the day and build a backstory without having to build a backstory. And so, having said that, the Court of Owls is probably an exception, or is the exception to that, because I liked the Court of Owls. I thought it was a great how Scott Snyder was able to, which I like Scott Snyder as a writer, so it kind of makes sense, but how Scott Snyder, just grafted that into the Batman mythos, the build up to where he's fighting the Court of Owls. I thought that was great. The whole Grayson, or the Gray Son, that was part of the Court of Owls. I thought that was good. And I've got the whole set, all 52 issues of it. And so Scott Snyder is a really cool dude to meet. All these artists and writers don't have to be that way, right? But it's nice when you meet some that they take their time with you and they talk with you and they're cool and all that. Greg Capullo is another example of that. Of course, he was the artist for the New 52. Mr. Bloom, I was kind of like, and to me, it just seemed like, hey, let's just throw him in. We're about to wrap this thing up. We're about to reset it with Rebirth. Let's just, Bloom to me wasn't that big of a deal. As far as Duke Thomas, didn't seem like they really used him all that much. I was glad they didn't decide to make a Robin out of him, which I thought was how they were going to go with it. They made him, into Signal, but it just seems like he's not been used all that much. I think he's in the Batman and the Outsiders, but that series is being canceled. So we'll see where they go with him. But yeah, the Court of Owls Talon, dig it. Yeah, I was glad they brought it back. And it wasn't one of those things they just kind of slid under the rug when they didn't want to think about New 52 anymore. What's going on, Big O? How are you? But Capullo, he was pretty cool cat. Signed a bunch of books for me last year, and whatever. And I've been enjoying Dark Knight's Death Metal, and I know they're going to, use it to kind of reset. Now it's officially released that 5G is no more. They finally said, okay, it wouldn't be what you thought it was going to be, but it's gone. Because now DC's main goal, and AT&T has come in and cleaned house and made it abundantly clear that your main goal is to produce content that we can change into movies, period. End of story. And so all this little reboot stuff and whatever like that, you're not going to kill characters off or replace characters with lesser known characters in the name of whatever you thought it was going to be in the name of, if it's going to subtract from sales that are going to subtract from our characters that we're selling. And so when you're talking about replacing Batman with a much lesser known property, or Bruce Wayne Batman with a much lesser known property such as Batwing, not when Batman's been selling like that, no. And same thing with Wonder Woman. And even though Superman has been floundering, I think that once they add fresh blood in there, with Bendis being gone, probably John Romita Jr. is not going, because the art, I'm a Romita fan. I liked him back in the X-Men days, around the 200s. And if you go back further than that, his art used to look a lot like his dad's art, but he kind of made his own deal. And I liked him in the early Spider-Man, 2001 Spider-Man, the September 11th issue. He drew that. I liked him during that, but he's been mailing it in on the Superman deal. It's like, no, this is going to be canceled. Screw it. It looks like crap. Who cares? And then as far as, yes, the White Knight I thought was great. And, and when you have a characters that have been around as long as Batman and Superman, and when the company gives definitive vision, like what I was just talking about, in that you are not going to mess with these people that are making us money. Do not touch them. You play to the base, and you tell good stories to bring more people in. The base, continue bringing them in, but you got to get new people too. So the easiest way to, if you want to try your wings out on kind of a little nuanced deal, is to do what if type stories or Black Label type stories, Elseworld, depending on your deal, and do stories like that and put it on Black Label. I think Three Jokers, they're going to put it on Black Label, and they'll probably introduce at least part of it into the Batman mainline mythos, because as many copies as those Jokers produced of that, no pun intended, as many copies as they produced of that, and it's going to second print still. Good grief. Good googly moogly. I mean, that is a bunch of comics in this day and age. Back in the 90s, 3 million copies of, Wildcats 1. Who cares? They're all going to be worth $1 million one day. So put them on Black Label is the easiest way to do that. And I've dug the Black. I don't know about anybody else in the chat, and be sure to comment. But I've really dug the Black Label stuff. I've gotten every Black Label. I believe Hellblazer is probably an exception, aside from Wonder Woman. Just didn't dig the art on Wonder Woman. Couldn't get with it. But The Question, of course, everybody knows Batman Damned, and the first appearance of the Battlewing. but Batman White Knight is another. Batman White Knight is another example of that. And they at the end of this one, Batman's gone to jail. Not to spoil it for you if you haven't read it, go out and get the trade. But Batman goes to jail and they call in Jason Todd. So they're going to be introducing him into there and see how it goes. Yeah, very curious. Look, I do not like AT&T. I will be the first to tell you. Wonder Woman isn't a real superhero. Magic Lasso and some other ones with Mike. As far as how it's going to play out, I don't like AT&T. I think that they're too big of a company, and when a company's too big, customer service is horrible. That's who my internet's through. And I wouldn't, if they gave me a free phone, wouldn't take a cell phone from them because I just hate their customer service. So what's going on, Tacoma? Tacoma. I said comma because I was thinking about comics, but it's Tacoma Comics, not Tacoma. Tacoma. It'd be like English or something. Yeah, Magoo's throwing out some. He's throwing down the gauntlet for the Wonder Woman fans. That's how Magoo rolls. So, but seriously, even as much as I dislike AT&T, they are a business and they're in it to make money, and so they do make money. And they're going to put people at DC, just like Disney tried to do with Marvel, and I think in large part has done with Marvel. Yep. She was a blessed individual. Blessed. Remote teaching is not fun. I can imagine it's not. It's probably like a madhouse because I have a lot of meetings now that are virtual, and we'll have like 20 people on them, and then people talking over each other and the lag and those joke videos that you see about meetings where people are not fully dressed or people not putting things on mute or lagging. It's all true. And if you haven't done virtual stuff, it's all true. But in the end, in the end, DC is going to be a well-oiled machine. In large part, Warner has let DC do its thing, and if they could, graft on and pull a Batman movie out of the woodwork with it, then that's great. But DC is going to be an entertainment powerhouse as long as they're producing. If they're not producing, then all bets are off. But these AT&T, Warner Media, whatever they want to call themselves, are in it to make money, and the movies make money. The comic books don't, but it doesn't have to be a loss leader. It can just break even, because if you can produce content that gets new readers in that are then therefore going to transfer into merchandising, that are going to transfer into the movies, transfer and all this other stuff that they sell, all this IP property, then DC is going to do that a lot cheaper than these other Hollywood writers. They pay those comic writers and artists a lot less than what they pay these writers to come up with these scripts for these movies that are not comic related. And right now, anything that's comic related is the hot thing at the box office. I mean, Marvel owns it, right? Which is Disney. And so they want to tap into that stuff that Disney has tapped in with Marvel. And hopefully they won't cut the physical side too much. I would agree. I like reading the floppies. I like reading the graphic novels on some things. I do not like the digital experience as much. But DC is doing something that Marvel's not doing, because DC is offering cheaper digital stuff because they're trying to tip their toe in the water to see whether or not that the base will buy into a digital experience. We'll see if it plays out. But Marvel cannot believe for 1 second that they are going to get people in on a digital experience if I can pay the same thing for a floppy physical experience. Why would I pay that for a digital experience? So you have these, and if you do away with the physical experience, you do away with the collectability of the market. going forward. Now, obviously, people go back and buy stuff that they can't get no more, like the old issues, first appearances, that type of thing. But as far as the collectability of the market going forward, it's none effect because you can't. If I have a first appearance of somebody, and it's in a digital copy, I can't turn around and give it to Magoo because there's nothing to give. I can't will it to my kids. So now all of a sudden you're going to sell a lot less copies. Guess what else you can't do? You can't sell variant copies because who's going to buy cover A, cover B, cover C, cover D, if there even is such a thing for a digital comic book? It's just not going to happen. So they know that, and they're tipping their toes in the water and seeing how things can go. But this right sizing, like I was talking about earlier with the Flash story, getting Bendis off of Superman, these are all things that are going on behind the scene because, tell you this, looking at Batman, and Batman's selling right now. So what they do, they took the writer that was not doing anything with Batman but angering fans and not bringing anybody in there, and they put somebody new on there. And to me, and anybody in the chat, feel free to disagree, but and the Batman is like age-old Batman, right? He's going up against the Joker. He's got the Bat fam with him. He's got this he's got to overcome. It looks like he's down and out, and he's going to come back. He's going to win in the end. This is age-old Batman. But guess what, guys? It's age-old Batman. He's done it a million times, but what's it doing? It's selling a bunch of books. A bunch of books. And that's all they care about. If they get to, say their little piece and still sell a book, as far as pushing certain agendas, then they'll do it. Trust me. But the main thing is sell books. And so they're looking at Batman right now going, we've got something hot right here. Let's capitalize on it. Now, how can we make Flash this way? How can we make Green Lantern this way? And you don't make Green Lantern the same thing as Batman. That doesn't make any sense. But what you do is you use the same model. Go back to your base. Your base is what brought you to the dance. Don't forget about these people that brought you to the dance, and let's move forward and get things excited. And if you get things excited, they make way more money on merch and all this other kind of stuff, but the comics are how you get there. So Vinny has a great idea. Flash drives. He'll be here all week, folks. King made Batman into a softie. Can't believe he's allowed to continue in Bats and Cats this winter. I thought that was going to be done, and they weren't going to even bring it up because originally he was going to split off and do that. At the same time, Batman was going to go to a monthly title. The Corona hit, and so they wanted to release Batman 100 by a certain length of time or a certain time, and the Corona hit, and so there's been several other little nuances that have pushed that series off. But it makes sense because there are certain Batman fans that like the King run. I didn't really have that much against it. But towards the end, it's like, man, you're dragging the story on that could be said in 5 issues. You're dragging it across 15. Really? But the reason why that is because they're writing things for omnibuses now. They're not writing things for a couple 3 story arcs. They're not worried about that. They're worried about making these big omnibuses. And so in order to do that, in order to have your work put into an omnibus, you've got to collect so many issues. And so that's why they're doing it that way. I understand. I just don't like it. So yeah, he told the story drug on too long, and then when he killed Alfred, I thought that was a little extreme. But there are Batman fans that like that. So if you like Batman's run, if you like how him and Catwoman finally hooked up, then read Batman and Catwoman. And there'll be some people that are getting on the Batman wagon now that will go over to Batman and Catwoman just because it's Batman, and that's what they're banking on too. So utilizing those different. I don't know that's going to be in continuity though. I think it's going to be like kind of an Elseworlds deal. I don't think it's going to be in continuity. Yeah, you got to do something. You got to do something different every now and then. It's just when to pull the trigger when it's not working, right? And you gotta do something, introduce some kind of little nuance that, because there's the suspension of disbelief, right? Um, you got to be able to people to put aside the idea that this rich guy that has no superpowers but being rich, according to Batfleck, right? That he's able to do all these things, and so you have to think, at least for a little bit, that he's not going to make it. That things are going to be too rough for him right now. That to be able to believe it. Also, because it's Clay Mann doing the artwork, yeah, it's not continuity. Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't think so, but thanks for confirming that. And Clay Mann, yeah, he did a lot of the Batman, so they seem to work well together, unlike Tom King and Jay Lee, right? They seem to work well together, and so hey, maybe it'll work, right? I don't know anything about the Wonder Woman series right now because I don't read it, but I imagine things will pick up and they'll want to do things around the Gal Gadot type Wonder Woman. Uh, yeah. What do you do? Right. It's like women power. Okay, great. Um, you, I think that, and Marvel kind of has some of this street level heroes, like with Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and those type of people. They did the Contagion little series, and it was just the street level heroes. That's kind of where certain characters need to be, play in their wheelhouse. I just saw a cover, or was reminded of a cover from Wolverine Volume 1 that Wolverine fought Galactus. Yeah, not so much. Everybody likes Wolverine, but everybody knows Galactus, unless it was the Galactus that Thor whooped in 2 panels. But everybody knows Wolverine's not going to beat Galactus. Play in your wheelhouse, okay, people? Let the big baddies, like with the Annihilation deal, they didn't have Iron Fist up there trying to hit bugs when they were fighting Annihilus. So makes sense, right? Yeah, Catwoman's not going to beat the Flash. Yeah, he fought Galactus, and he was on the cover, but it's whatever. They did one like this with Squirrel Girl. Okay, we can believe this. But look, guys and gals, that's all I've got. I am going to be on Barbarian Kung Fu's channel tonight at 6 o'clock Central Time, throwing up some, slinging some books. $1, $2, $3 books. Going to be that kind of auction. It's not the auction where you bid on something and it takes 100 years for it to close because somebody went and folded laundry instead of watching the auction. It's not that kind of an auction. It's an auction where there's set prices, set time limit, and they're done. We're on to the next seller. So things move fairly quickly. It's me, him, and a couple of other folks. But go to his channel this afternoon in an hour from now and check that out if you would, please. I do appreciate everybody stopping in and watching this live. And for those of you who catch this on the rewind, I appreciate you as well. In either case, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and bell notification if you like these kind of videos. If you don't do it because that's going to bore you to death. We are giving away this, so be sure to be a subscriber to the channel, and you have to be 18 years or older and watching for a video announcing the 600 subscriber giveaway, so you'll know how to enter to win aside from those 2 items I just mentioned. And take heart, K Thomas and Gray Man. Of course, Gray Man knows this because he's won something from me before. But take heart, for those of you who are watching this outside the continental United States. I do ship internationally, so I will not segregate you out or discriminate. You're just as important. Until next time, folks, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.